Alright, this video might be a little long. Okay, so I would suggest grab a bucket of popcorn and when you're cleaning your room or your house, you can listen to it, or when you're driving. Okay, and feel free to listen to it 1.5x speed. Okay, now before I do start this video, it's a story about me and my first ever American girlfriend that I had. Now, a couple of disclaimers that I want to give you. First one is, please note that this is my side of the story. There's always her side of the story. People always say there's one side, there's the other side, and there is a middle ground. So keep that in mind. I'll try to be as true to the details as possible. The second one is, just because this story doesn't have a good ending, and just because this particular specific American female has very questionable habits and character is very questionable, that doesn't mean all the Americans are, bad or they are the same like her. Always remember there are different people. 300 million Americans, so all are different. There's a Ben Shapiro, then there would be Elon Musk, then there would be a Donald Trump, then there would be a Kamala Harris, so Carl Sagan. We have different personalities. Like Indians, all the Indians, yes, they have common quirks and traits, but everyone's different. Like even I'm an Indian passport holder, but you would say that, oh, you're very different. So keep that in mind. There's always exceptions and different people. And number three is, even if you do know her name or her identity, I request you don't reveal it. Let's be respectful towards this individual. Okay, it's just that it didn't work out. And yes, there were rather very questionable things that happened in between. So having said that, let's start with the story. All right. Now, I've written down a few notes so that I don't miss on the important bits. And that's why if you see me looking at the screen, you shouldn't wonder why. Now, this goes back to around, I think, 8 years or 9 years ago, when I was still in my third marriage, a very unfaithful husband, so to speak. And if you see my previous videos, why I got married, the first time, second time, third time, the third time was just purely not to get jailed by the Arab Islamic country, because a guy and girl cannot stay together if they're just friends, even if they're boyfriend, girlfriend. You have to have legal papers. So, I decided to push for it and get married. And I thought I could make the marriage work, but she was my best friend, but she was not my ideal wife-like thing. So there was absolutely zero sex, zero pleasure in our relationship, and nothing was happening. And it was still those days where I had to take testosterone and bodybuilding. So, I was slightly horny, as you could say. I liked a little bit of action. I was definitely going to the gym. I was very active, half marathon, triathlon, all that stuff. So, given that I was not happy in terms of the pleasure department, I was constantly seeking for girls. My style was very simple. If the girl initiated or showed interest, or if talking to her she would show me even a little bit of interest, fine, I would initiate the process. I was not the type who would chase a girl. It was just not in my book. I didn't believe any female was worth chasing. So if I would talk to a girl and she immediately gave me the vibes, she was interested, fine. Okay. So by the time I also had finished one trip to Thailand, okay, and it was I was that time at the peak of my Dubai fame with TED Talks. I had done a TED Talk. I had starred in Coca-Cola's viral ad that resulted in 750 million views. They even gave a single line speaking about Coca-Cola's. It was called Coca-Cola, No Labels This Ramadan. There are still articles about it. CNN featured it. They just showed me for a split second, they showed me there because I was the only tattooed guy. So I was at the peak of my popularity, and the national newspaper that was media, 24.e, featured me in their interview. Okay. So I was riding this nice wave of fame and big money and girls and all that. And like I told you, because I visited Thailand once, so all this was at the background. And I started to get many people who wanted to add me on Facebook, including females. So one of the females who sent me a friend request was this female. I'll not give her name. Let's call her whatever you want, Michelle. Okay. Her name is not Michelle, by the way. So you get any Michelle, don't say this is her. Okay. So this Michelle female sent me a request. And those days, Facebook didn't have the lock your profile. If you click on the profile, you can see the profile and you can see what they post. So there I saw she had a photograph of her sitting near the mountains and, greenery and the sun setting. And she had a little bit of a hippie, like 80s hippie, where you could say that she looked like she was being a very happy person, at the same time breaking away from the corporate world. She was one of those outliers. And her posts were all about nature, about finding your purpose, finding your dreams, living a life of happiness and joy. So very much more like me even. And she also believed in being a rebel. So I felt very connected. Okay. And I added her and I said hi, and she responded immediately. And next thing you know, we were chatting. And I found her very mature, like me. It means my age. She was not a very young girl. She was 40. I was in my 40s. And I kind of enjoyed talking to her. And she was talking about her purpose, about what is next. We are getting old. And what's next, whether she wanted to move to US or whether she wanted to be in Thailand. And just FYI, those were the same questions I was asking myself because I was nearing 40 and I was wondering, I have to move from Dubai, I have to go to Thailand, where will I go next? So we found many commonalities between us, okay, in a very mature fashion. Now, and I focused on doing what I love. I never worked a 9 to 5 job. She also focused on what she loved. That was being in nature, teaching exercise, doing some massage, miscellaneous jobs here and there. In Thailand, that was Samui. And she had traveled the world. So I was very intrigued with her and she was very intrigued with me. And next thing you know, I decided, man, you live only once. Why not I meet her? And I suggested, and to my surprise, she said, why not? I would be more than happy to have you. Okay. So I was like, oh, wow. Ooh. Yeah, wow, what the hell? So within a week, I think I booked the ticket and I told her I'm coming this way. She said, definitely come down. You'll be my guest. I'll take care of you. I was so happy. And it was my first time knowing about an island called Koh Samui. So finally, obviously, I had to lie to my wife, told her business trip, and flew down there. And lo and behold, I met her. I think she was hardly 5 feet or something, blonde hair, straight, cute, and very slim. Everything what I liked, like blonde. It was like wow, and yeah. And here, let me tell you, one of our typical Indian fantasies. We always think of having a blonde female, a foreigner female, someone from the West. We always have that. And this was my childhood fantasy. And I'm actually living that fantasy. Okay, she was not young, but she was blonde and she was beautiful and she was pretty. She was nothing like extraordinary, but she was pretty. And she was very welcoming when you met. We hugged. She gave me a kiss on the cheek, and next thing you know, I was taken to her place where she was staying. She stayed in a very small villa, which there were multiple villas that were there. It was a small bedroom and hall. And she, by the way, forgot to tell you, she had a teenage son, which was 13 or 14. And so when I met her, obviously I'm coming to meet her. She's going to take care of all my expense, food and stay and everything else, which was like paradise. So I was like, I need to be a gracious guest. So I bought gifts for the boy because I realized he's a gamer. And I bought some things for her. General, nothing overly expensive. And Well, next thing you know, yeah, passionate, sex and romance and going out. And the 2 weeks that I had the visa, we literally went every day out, every day spending every day to a nice restaurant, every day to a nice place, every day to a nice outing, photographs, and she was taking me out. So it was like a honeymoon phase. It was just honeymoon. So we really enjoyed, and next thing I had to leave. And she was like, I'm going to miss you like crazy and all that sweet pillow talk. You know how you get it. So once I came back, I was like, wow, can't wait to go back again because I just enjoyed a fantastic honeymoon kind of dream come true. Accommodation is taken care of and food is taken care of. And here you have a romantic female and I just have to pay for the ticket. So I was like eager to go again. And lo and behold, I think within week or 2 weeks, I went again. And this time I bought a better gifts, more expensive gifts, some perfumes, some things here and there. I bought something for the boy. And, she was overly happy to see me. But this time it was not more of the honeymoon. It was not more of the fun. It was not more of the going out. It was more of getting to know each other. So obviously, she started asking questions about what is your life? What is your priority? What is your focus? I also asked her the same. Now, here is a slight, couple of red flags also, which I'll give you. I positioned myself as someone who is very serious, very mature, whose finances were in place, which were not, whose career was in place, which was not, who knew what he wanted, which I did, but I was not sure how I was going to get it. And she also, in hindsight, did the same. She portrayed as if she knew very clearly where she wanted to go. Her finances were in place. She was very mature. So we both portrayed ourselves as perfect human beings. And as I started to get to know her son, kind of realized there were a couple of things which are kind of strange about him. He didn't go to school. He was doing homeschooling. He was forever on his computer. And it was not as romantic and fun like as the first time. The second time was slightly mature and staying more at home, spending more time with her. Okay. And so we decided we'll take it a step further and see where it goes. And this is another stupid thing that I can slap myself. And I thought, why don't we get married? And that's what I asked her. If you're serious, I'm serious. Why don't we get married? Which, in hindsight, was very, very stupid of me. Super, mega stupid. If you thought only other people make stupid choices and I'm very mature, well, here's me exposing my stupidity. So, and by the time she had introduced me to her circle of friends, okay. Now, here is where another red flag, which I want to tell you. Her friends were all touristy guys from Australia, Germany, Australia, I don't know, different parts of Europe, I can't remember now. And they were like these young, buffed up steroid guys. One or two of them were even porn stars who made money doing porn, not in Thailand, but were porn stars and steroid heads. And it was only later on I came to know that they used to smoke weed and they went for weed parties. And this should have been a red flag for me because, you are the friends you keep. And they would go for late night parties and, have different sexual partners and all that. So, but, when you're high in the bubble of romance, you ignore all this. Okay. So now, that was the second meeting. The third meeting, again, I was very eager to spend time with her. So after another 2 weeks or so, from Dubai, I went to meet her again. And this time, asked more in-depth questions. And this is where all the red flags were shown to me, but I was too stupid to look at it. The red flags, I'll give one by one. Number one is she portrayed us, her previous relationship, the father of this kid. He is a bad guy, he is a womanizer, he's a drug addict, he's a smoker, he's an abuser. And she was the good woman and he was a bad guy. That was number one. That is the first red flag, which I've always told you in relationships. If a person portrays themselves as a victim and another guy as evil, that's always bad. The second is she gave me a story. Long story short, he had her and she was in love with a Thai guy and they all stayed together and they would have threesomes together. This should have been a big red flag, but I was like, oh, poor thing, she was forced into all this. Once again, she was a victim, he was a good guy. And number three is, which should have made sense but didn't make sense. It seems that when I asked her how is she making money, she told me she was doing few massages here and there, few yoga classes and few miscellaneous stuff. And then she told me she used to make, cake with weed, which was illegal, very illegal. You can get jailed for life. I should have taken that as a big red flag, but now weed is legalized, but that time it wasn't. And then I should have taken that as a red flag, but I didn't. And then she told me that this husband of hers, ex, used to send her money. I should have made 1+1 is 2. Like, imagine you are bad mouthing the husband and talking shit about him and all that. And then you say that he's paying all your bills or most of your bills or paying you money every month. I should have asked her, like, then how is he a bad guy? I think I did, but I didn't think much about it. And this was a time where I really got the absolute horrible red flags. One day I caught both of them having a shower together. Like, I was listening to some noise and I asked, where are you? She's in the shower. I asked, so I was just like quiet. Next thing you know, they both come. She comes out. I'm like, oh, okay, she's there. And next thing I know, he comes out. So they both were having a shower together. And I was like, okay. And then they went to the bedroom and she just takes off a towel and she's naked. And I was like, and he's there. The son is also there. Imagine, the son is 13, 14 or whatever. And I was like standing there stunned because, yeah, she's naked. But the boy is there. So I said, you're naked in front of... Yeah, Loy, he's my son. Come on. He doesn't think dirt, like, come on, stop getting out of your narrow Indian brain or something like that. She said, I should have really paid attention to that. And next thing you know, she told me that she's always naked and they always have bath or whatever. I don't know. One day when we were at a new place that finally shifted to a new place because I was planning to come down, the son was given a room. Remember I told you homeschooling and he used to have his computer. One day his door is slightly open, so just wanted to say a friendly hello. And when I open, this guy's, like his back I can see. His leg, one leg is there, one leg is there. And he's actually masturbating. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Knock. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then when I told the wife, I was like, told his, that female, your son was, yeah, Loy, so? And I said, his door is open. Like, come on, Loy. Do you want him to close the door? We are grown adults here. He can do what he wants. I was like, okay. For me, that was another shock. But then as I started interacting more with this boy, asking him his goals, his dream, he didn't give a damn about his goals, his dreams, whatever. And one day he just started going racist about the Thai people, racist about brown people, and racist about, you're just a bloody Indian and something like that he just said. I was like, taking it in a very jokey way. But when he started to actually bully me, see, the thing is, I'm not a violent guy. But when he started to disrespect me and all that, and it went to the point where he was actually trying to harass me, and I wanted to answer, I wanted to give back, I wanted to. But for me, I'm a guest. I have to be within my space, and I just burst out crying, seriously crying. I told her, I can't take this anymore. It went to such an extent. I said, I'm leaving right now. I'm leaving right now because he was insulting 24/7, man. I should have taken that as a red flag because, I was going through a lot of stuff, I think, at that time, and it was too bottled up. And, when you want to hit someone, but you don't, and you want to shout at someone, but you don't, and when you can't take it. And then, obviously, she came in between and sorted it out and, shouted, screamed at him. But all this was making me very uncomfortable. Seriously, all this was making me very uncomfortable because as here I was with the family, I was like, what kind of mad family is this? Like, is this the family that I want to be for the rest of my life with? Because if I'll be married to her, I'll get her son along with the package. And I I told her bye. I think the third time was the final one, and it didn't work out well. And remember, by this time, I had bought her very expensive perfumes, things that she would dream of, like almost $200 each perfume and all that. So I was taking care of them and all that, but there was no respect that the son would give me. And she had introduced me to her circle of friends. So once I landed in Dubai, I was really in two minds. Is this the direction I want to go with this female? And initially, I forgot to mention this, that we had planned that we would get married and move to US and all that. And later on, she told me, no, I'm not going to move to US. You will be where I want you to be. More like you'll do what I want you to do. And I was not very comfortable with that. And remember, all this while she portrayed her husband as bad and she as a good female. One of her friends, which I'll not mention who, I was chatting with her on Facebook and we were just, generally talking. And she gave me a hint. She said, just be careful, don't fall for her stories. Her own friend is telling me, don't fall for her stories. So there, my antennas went up. I was like, okay, now there is something I don't know what's going on. Now remember, all the while she portrayed this father as a bad guy, and the son used to abuse. By the way, I forgot to tell you, the son used to abuse the father openly, very bad words. So it seemed that his birthday was coming, and I wanted to repair the damage that was done. So I was prepared to send him something nice, maybe a computer, gaming device. And that was when, and this is where the relationship breaks up. So I remember calling her and I said, what would you like your son to have and all that? And she told me his birthday is tomorrow. So I said, yeah, tomorrow I'll call him and wish him, but he'll not be there. So I said, where is he going? And oh, he's going to spend time with his father. And I was like, what? You just, like, it struck me like you portrayed the father as an evil, bad, sinister character who dumped you, ditched you, who was, drinking, and he had another female, and you're sending him to the father. And he himself, the son himself, said, I will die, but I'll never see his face and all that. And then she told me, yeah, he told the son, if you do spend time with me, I will give you whatever you like. So he said, what about a state-of-the-art computer? He said, done, I'll buy you the computer. So I told my son, just go and fake your feelings and emotions, get that computer so we can have some, latest stuff in the house. And I told her, you actually told your son that? He said, yeah, so we get to use him. And I said, you're okay with that? He said, yeah, I don't mind him using him. Let him fake all the emotions and feelings, but get the computer and then we'll have the latest one. And I found that a very cheap mentality. You claim that you hate the person, you claim that you don't want to even spit on the person, don't want the shadow of the person. But the minute the person throws a little bit of money, you're ready to dance, you're ready to go, he's ready to go. So for me, that was unacceptable. And I clearly told her, and next thing you know, she was like, we knew that it was breaking up, and finally she said, fine, okay, fine, we're going to break up. And I had planned to go to Samui again, and I just told her there are a couple of things of mine which are there, please, if you can return it. And here's the funny bit. All the while, husband is bad, everyone's bad, she's good. When I landed again in Samui, this time not at her place, separate, she had kept all my belongings in a garbage bin. She had torn all the photographs that we had together. And she had destroyed everything that we were together in terms of cheap. But the expensive perfumes and expensive gifts, not one did she return. She returned only where my photograph or anything of mine was there, and my clothes were thrown as if it was dirt, which I kept quiet. And, you know, obviously, she didn't want to be in touch. I was okay with that. And here's one other guy who she introduced me, as a businessman. When I met him again, he himself told me, "You are falling." The guy whom she introduced me to as a businessman, that same guy, he's telling me, "You are going to fall for this tramp." I was like, "Why are you saying that? Have you ever?" He was laughing. He was laughing. He's from her place, and he's saying, "Man, you're so dumb." I said, "Why? Have you ever asked yourself, a female who's so beautiful, who's so single, who's looking so nice, who portrays herself as a saint, why is she so bloody single, on an island where so many men are seeking for a good girl? Have you ever asked yourself?" I just kept quiet. I said, "It never occurred to me, but..." And she was like, "Why do you think she caught you?" "Because it was an easy payday." That's what he told me. And I just kept quiet. I still didn't believe what he said. And then he told me, "If she can start humping you within just few days of meeting you, don't you think she has been doing that all along with all different guys?" And he started laughing. I kept quiet. I didn't say anything. But then, to my biggest shock, the so-called friend that she introduced me to, who was supposed to be her best friend, later on told me that she used to do this with every single guy that she would chat with. Okay? And it seems that she didn't spare anyone. In fact, one of the guys whom she bought as a customer for her, who was a young, very young man, and she used to teach certain skills of certain discipline. It seems when she was not there, and they would leave both of them in the room in her place, next thing you know, they both were having sex everywhere. And one day, it seems, when her best friend came to her house, where they just met, it seems when she opened, they both were in compromising positions with condoms lying everywhere. And she told me this is just a guy she met 24 hours before. Like, oh my goodness. I was totally shocked. Because here is a female trying to portray herself as a saint, and this is a real story. And if that was the climax, it would have been fine. Well, the climax was after, I think, months and months after everything got over and I was no longer in touch with her. By the way, I forgot. She bad-mouthed me on her Facebook like crazy, portraying herself as, "Oh, I loved him so much, I gave him so much, and he dumped me again. Why do men do this? Why do the men take advantage of true love and innocent?" She was portraying herself as a saint, and all her female friends, "You're too good for these side of guys. You have pure love, and these are, wretched men. These are men." I was like, oh my goodness, I can't bear to watch all this. She even tried to copy my style of my marketing and my profession, all that, by portraying herself as a new coach and a personal brand expert and all that shit. But the climax of the story is where after I got married to my wifey, I was minding my own business. On one side of the island, she was in another side. As we were having coffee in Amazon, which is nearby, I was sitting down. She was doing her own thing. Next thing you know, you remember I told you she had a bunch of friends who were steroid heads? This huge guy who was 6 foot plus. His arm size are like as big as my thighs. You can say both your legs put together. He came and started, "Motherfucker, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to rip your neck off." And he was like breathing like, and he was red and his eyes were bulging out. And he was like, like as if he's going to tear off my neck. My wife had quick thinking and she had removed her phone and she was busy recording. And he was like, like all spit coming out and he wanted to kill me and all that. And then I was wondering, first I didn't recognize it. Then I was wondering, oh, he's her, that her friend. And it seems that now he was dating her and he wanted to take revenge on me for breaking up with her and for kind of bad mouthing her or whatever. And I was like, okay, I was in a cool mind. I was like, okay, what the hell do I do? Like, how do I get out of this? I was in a cool mind. I was not afraid. And then I saw my wife taking the video and I said, very good. You took the video. And then I got the courage and said, very good. Take the video so we can show this to the police, because the police here will jack you if, evidence is caught on tape, and especially if you are two expats. And the minute he saw that, he immediately shrunk and he actually whispers in my ear, okay, I'm going to extend my hand to you and you extend your hand. We'll shake hand and we'll just say we were playing a game. We were just faking it. And I was like, is he gone mental or what? So he said, hey, Loy, it was great meeting you. We are just joking. I just limply held my hand. He just shook hands and then he went off. And he tried to act smart with me, but because we went to the tourist police and made a complaint, he escaped the island and flew out. So they had put a kind of a warrant on him. And, long story short, she was contacted by the tourist police and told, please keep away. We don't want drama. They spoke to her ex-husband of the same nonsense that was going on, but he said, I don't want to get involved in this. But anyway, in the end, I think she eventually left the island after that. And it has been five years or so that I never heard from her. Very glad. She must have moved on. I don't have anything bad to say. So yeah, this was the overall story of the first ever American girl. When the good moments were there, it was really fantastic, romantic, for the 1 week that it lasted. But once I got into the nitty-gritties, it was terribly ugly. What I realized is these foreigners, these Goras, they have a list of values of their own. They have a list of lifestyle of their own style of doing things. I'm not saying that they are bad, they would definitely look at our lifestyle and say, oh, yuck, what the hell. We would look at their lifestyle and say, oh, yuck, what the hell. But certain things, which I don't think is normal, is like mother having bath with a 14, 15-year-old, being naked, sleep. Obviously she loved sleeping around, with multiple partners, twosome, threesome, foursome partners every week. That is not an American thing. I think that is a hippie trait. And yes, because she was very much into weed and all that, it was kind of crazy. But you can definitely say I dodged a big bullet. Very, very big bullet. To this date, I don't have any regrets, no ill feeling towards her. I just don't want anything got to do with her. I wish her all the best. Wish her, may she do very well. May her son do very well. May they become successful. May they become rich. Honestly, I don't have any ill feeling towards them. And I genuinely hope that they find their footing. The guy does well, her son. She does well, and she finds the right partner. So that has been my experience with them. So it's not to say I'm better off than them or they're better off than me. This is what it is. Like I told you, two sides of the story. I've given you my side. Maybe she would have a different version of it. Maybe she would say smelly Indian or narrow-minded Indian or whatever she wants to say about me. Or I was not good enough. Fine. Whatever she says, she's right for her part. But I could definitely tell you that neither of us would be happy with each other. We are two different human beings. We were just good enough for that 1 week of fun. And that's where it ends. So, this was the story of my first ever American girlfriend. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And please, like I told you, please keep her identity confidential. If any one of you even puts her name, I will block and ban you permanently. And their comment will be deleted. So, I wish to give them respect in terms of privacy, anonymity, and seriously, I wish them all the best. May they do 100 times better than me and live happily ever after. Having said that, this is where my story ends. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You guys take care.